This is Ruthie of Ruthie K's with Anna of Ruthie K's and RK Artisans. And today we're looking at what's happening with bridal season, because you know what happens over the holidays, over Christmas and New Year's time. A lot of people get engaged. It's like one of the biggest times for engagement that there is. And so after you get engaged, the next question is, when do I pick my wedding gown? When do I find my wedding gown? Well, now, for me, I was looking at wedding gowns forever. I mean, ever. I started sewing when I started making paper clothes for my Barbie when I was 6. Then my grandma taught me to sew on a treadle sewing machine when I was 7. And I've been looking at wedding gowns ever since because I just love formal wear. I love clothes, but I especially love formal wear. And so some of us have been doing that. Then there's other people that are like, I never even wanted to get married. I don't know what to do. And either way, it's okay. Because you know what? If you've been looking at your wedding gown since you were little, then you've got lots of ideas. And maybe you won't even pick the one you think you're set on. It may be totally different. But if you haven't been looking at all, then it's time for a new start. And that's okay too, right? You get to do something new. You get to check things out. If you hate shopping, where would you go? Anna, I made my wedding gown, and we made Anna's wedding gown. For those of you that don't know, Anna is also my daughter, my one and only daughter. I have 3 boys. And how did you come up with the ideas for your wedding gown?
So I did not plan it since I was 5. That was not me. It's really funny because I actually didn't start planning what I wanted for my wedding. I was always of the opinion that I'm going to marry this other person. He also has a say in how this wedding goes. So I'm not going to make this structured plan of what I want, because then if he wants something different, I'll be disappointed. And so that was always my mindset. And it wasn't until a year or 2 before I met Steven that it was at the point where I'd finally given up on finding true love. No, but not really. But it's where you're getting frustrated with the process of trying to find someone that you like enough to marry, that I started building a dream board on Pinterest. And so it was about a year or 2 before I met Steven that I had this dream board built where I'd pulled in all those photos that I showed you when
Yep.
we were talking about how to make my dress. I just pulled in all the photos, and it's funny because the one dress that I was like adamant, this is the dress that I want, looks very little like what we ended up making. So and that's not because you made it wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
No,
is
no.
my style shifted from when I made the board.
Yeah.
Because the one I loved was a Vera Wang that looked kind of Grecian. And that was the one I'd found on Pinterest, and like everything revolved around that. All the other dresses I found were similar to that. But then when I was planning it with you, I just completely changed everything that I wanted, because I'm like, no, this would be fun. This would be great. So the process for me was much more in the moment, I guess. So it wasn't until I met Steven and we were finally planning it, and I was planning it with you, that I had concept pictures that I liked, but I didn't have the actual dress planned out until brainstorming it with you.
And that's the way it is for almost everybody.
Yeah.
I made my dress. It was the first dress I made, pattern and everything for, and it was exactly what I wanted. And mine was medieval. And maybe Anna, you can put up some pictures of your dress and my dress, and maybe Aunt
I'll
Judy's
try
if
to
you
split them in
find
here,
it,
yeah.
or Angel's.
Yep.
And because these are 4 of the big dresses that I made. My sister Judy got married, and when she got married, she asked me to make her dress. And hers was, I want a piece of that, and a piece of that, and a piece of that, and a piece of that. Now put them all into one dress. So
Yeah.
there's many ways to look at that. And Angel just came to me and said, this is what I want.
Mhm.
So Angel is my sister-in-law.
I'd
So
say I
this
was probably
is,
your more tough customer out of the three of us because I was like, well, I kind of like this idea, and you're like, okay, but define that idea, make it into something I can make.
well, and that's the process if you're making a custom dress. But
Yeah.
if you're just looking and going to buy one, and you may just walk into a bridal store and say, that's my dress. You put it on
Yeah.
and that's your dress. Don't settle for what you don't want.
Yes.
Okay. Don't settle for what you don't want. So that's the biggest thing. So look at Pinterest, look in other catalogs, look at, go to bridal shows. And depending on how much time you have, you can spend a lot of time on that. Some of our brides are 2 years out, 3 years out even, and some of our brides are, I need this in 2 months. If you need
Or
it in 2
three.
months or 3, you need it in 2 months, most of the time you're not going to be able to find someone to make it for you. Just because most
Yeah.
seamstresses are too busy to just make one dress in 3 months. So unless you hit, but you can always ask. It's not a bad thing to ask. Usually we're working on more than one thing. And I know in my shop, I have both custom and alterations. So we have to set all of that in. But it never hurts to ask, by the way. Never hurts to ask. Some people get their wedding gowns new. Some people get their wedding gowns from a relative. Some people get their wedding gowns from a store. Like we have one here in Tacoma called Adorned in Grace, and they resell wedding gowns. So people donate their wedding gown and they clean them all up and then they resell them to somebody else, and the proceeds go to a charity. There's also Brides for a Cause here in the Seattle area. I think that one is even a little bigger.
It might be,
And
yeah.
so those are definitely places to look for. Look at your regular chains. Around here, we no longer have a David's Bridal, but I know they still have some in the Midwest and back east, and that's a big chain store. Otherwise, you have a lot of little bridal boutiques. One of our favorite ones, if you're in the Tacoma area, is for larger brides, and it's called
Millie Mae.
Millie Mae. We love Millie Mae's.
They
It's
are so
in Bothell,
wonderful.
Washington, and they are super awesome. And if you're a plus size bride, you can try on every dress. It's very nice. So there's lots of options to go and look. And don't be afraid to go and look. Make an appointment and go and look. You are the one in control of your dress. So take your time and find it. Now, the other thing is, what if I'm getting married in 2 months? You know what? You need to get married. You need a new outfit, period. If you're going to Vegas, get a new outfit. It doesn't have to be a bridal dress. It could be a new pair of jeans and a new shirt and a new cowboy hat and boots. It could be a peasant top and a flowy skirt. It could be anything. It could be a
It could be a new set of
pantsuit.
pajamas if you really wanted it to.
It could. Just get yourself something new. Get yourself
Yeah.
something that's for your wedding.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're getting married in front of a justice of the peace or at a wedding venue in Vegas or Reno, or you're getting married in the park. You deserve at your wedding to have something new, and so does your groom. Grooms often get kind of set aside, and that's not really fair. It's their wedding too. So they should at least have a clean shirt, nice and new preferably, and a nice pair of pants, shorts, whatever makes them happy.
Or a kilt.
So a kilt. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
We've
what my
had
husband did.
two kilted weddings. Anna's and our her brother James also had a kilt. So whatever your theme, you need something that makes you feel good. It makes you feel new, because this is a new thing in life. It should start out with something new. Those are just my personal opinion. So looking for wedding gowns, you're looking for something that makes you feel great. Don't be afraid, if you're bigger, of wearing a tight-fitting wedding gown. One of my huge fashion crushes is actually Queen Latifah.
Mm.
When she is a beautiful statuesque woman. I adore her, and she wears her clothes the way she wants to wear them. And it's awesome. And that's the way you should be too. If it makes you feel good, then get the dress. And remember, from Ruthie K's, we believe clothing is camouflage, right? So you can wear anything you want. You just have to have somebody that can actually make it fit to hide what you want to hide and to show what you want to show. And you can do that with any style, any style. That is my big thing. Giving you the ability to feel good in your clothes by us hiding what we want to hide and showing what we want to show. And even if you're a bigger person, you have curves. If you're a little person, my friend, you have curves, okay? So curves doesn't mean you're fat. Curves mean you literally have shape. And we all have shape. And sometimes we like pieces of our shape and we don't like other pieces of our shape. So what do we want to accent? If you like your boobs, accent your boobs. If you like your tushy, accent your tushy. If you like your waist, then find something that makes your waist look good. Oh, by the way, for those of you with little waists or want to look like you have little waists, nothing better than a hooped skirt. I know. Who thinks of a hoop skirt anymore? I promise you, try one. Go in and tell them, I want to try this with a hoop skirt. A hoop skirt makes everybody look like they have a waist. It's an
Yep.
awesome thing. So, camouflage, that's your thing. So you can wear any style you want. You need to try on every style. Modesty is another big thing. And we see a lot of strapless dresses. And for years and years, until Kate Middleton, we haven't had a lot of sleeves. Now we see a lot more sleeves, a lot more collars. But your dress doesn't need to have décolletage. It doesn't need to be sleeveless, and it doesn't need to be strapless. They're out there, and right now is a great time to find one that would suit your needs. And if not, then there are options to go with that. And we'll talk about those options later. I could go on and on forever, but this is a podcast. You don't want to listen to me at one time forever go on and on.
I would say that there's also an uprise right now in customized options for the dresses at a bridal boutique. I know that my godmother Anna, the other Anna, the boutique she went to, she had options of she could add sleeves, she could keep them off, she could add a piece through the middle, she could take it away. It's not like they can completely mix and match you your own unique dress, but they do have options if there are certain parts of the dress that you don't like. So it's always worth asking.
Yes, and we'll talk about that. So for our next podcast, if you want to keep following in line, we're still going to be talking about wedding fashion, and we'll be talking about options to go with your dress, because we have many fashion fads right now that are fun and they're interesting, but they can cost you a lot of money, and there are ways you can get around that. And so we'll talk about some of those options that you can look at in our next podcast. This is Ruthie and Anna of Ruthie K's at So Talk.